I'll have some gumbo, please. Gumbo is an incredibly versatile and distinct concoction.
So come what may, night or day, love will lead you home. Oh, love will lead us home again. So come what may, night or day, love will lead you home. Oh, love will lead us home. Oh, love will lead us home again.
Front, back, side to side. If you're feeling okay, then you're feeling alright. If your eyes are red, that means you're high. If you're stumbling, tell me what you're drunk tonight. Front, back, side to side. If you're feeling okay, then you're feeling alright. If your eyes are red, that means you're high. If you're stumbling, tell me what you're drunk tonight.
Shout out my man Conflict, aka Phil Blackson. Back and making friends with the flow that never ends. Manipulating mics since you was in the pens. You can do the bends, let me get my ends. Collected by the 20s, so hold on to your tens. Clogging up your works, I'm fogging up your lens. Flying, always trying while I'm drying up these pens. Paper isn't big enough for all I gotta say, or F it anyway. I'ma sleep a day away. Wake up later on, maybe mow the lawn. Grass is getting higher, so hold me past the fire. Burn, baby, burn like you're smoking up a tire. Burn like my heart for this microphone desire. Don't wanna be a liar, so I stay true. But nobody's perfect, what the hell you gonna do? Keep on pushing on, love it till it's gone. Respect the architects who make a great song. Ones that knock you out like a 3-foot bomb. Seeking out these truths to eradicate wrongs. Pointing out stingers, now look who got stung. Gold getting older, but my heart stays young. So
Front, back, side to side. If you're feeling okay, then you're feeling alright. If your eyes are red, that means you're high. If you're stumbling, tell me what you're drunk tonight. Front, back, side to side. If you're feeling okay, then you're feeling alright. If your eyes are red, that means you're high. If you're stumbling, tell me what you're drunk tonight.
lyrics complicated, lyrics calculated, versatile, impersonated for the feelings validated. Alienated for the skin, it begins to agitate it. Created, dominated, gotta leave it punctuated. Slated till I dehydrated, underrated. To motivate and formulate, accelerated, rehabilitated, must resuscitate it, just to make you see how I appreciate it. I grabbed my pen and penetrated. Wrote this yesterday, so it's called premeditated. Cares decorated, flair incorporated. Clearly detonated there, commemorated. Debonair over there, I swear you're captivated. Whatever's fair, prepare for figurating while we roller skating or assassinating. Premeditated, CP, regurgitating, circumnavigating, perfecting human mating. Practice palpitating till I get to compilating. Now I'm stating, beat on the flake, we keep it straight. The champion heavy, the middle and welterweights, y'all.
Front, back, side to side. If you're feeling okay, then you're feeling alright. If your eyes are red, that means you're high. If you're stumbling, tell me what you're drunk tonight. Front, back, side to side. If you're feeling okay, then you're feeling alright. If your eyes are red, that means you're high. If you're stumbling, tell me what you're drunk tonight.
Hey.
Hey, Burlington. Hey, Melo. Hey, Fattie B.
What up, y'all?
So what is it exactly that we're here to talk about tonight and listen to? I guess that's the question. In 7 words or less.
Use as many words as you would like.
A record I made called Gumbo.
Wow, that was pretty impressive.
That was good.
That was good.
We're done, I guess. No, I think there's a lot more to say about this
There
thing.
is. We just heard 2 songs. I guess right out the bat, the first thing I noticed was like, a hell of a lot of people on this. A hell of a lot of people.
Yeah, so the story behind this thing is crazy, and we can get into it, but I knew that when I decided I was going to make music again, that the whole concept was going to be, I had a bunch of the amazing producers from around this area, SK, who actually isn't involved in this, but had sent me a ton of beats, Sky Splitter, Ilu, Pro from Aztecs, Rico James. They had always been sending me emails with beats over the last few years saying, man, would love to get you to rhyme on this. And I was like, man, these are dope, but I wasn't creatively in the headspace. I was, I'm old, and I didn't feel like I wanted to compete with young cats and have people be like, why is this old dude trying to do this? So I just kind of said, my time has come and passed. And, I did my thing. I'm cool. But then when I decided after my health scare, and we can talk about all that, but to do it, I said, my whole idea was to take these producers' beats, break down the stems, and then reach out to all these amazing musicians that I've come in contact with over the last 30 years and say, let's make a combination, live musician / producer / MC / DJ / everybody involved. Just make a stew, have everybody get to collaborate. We talk a lot about Burlington in the 90s was such a collaborative music scene. And it split from that in the 2000s, and then especially with the pandemic, it's not that at all. And I'm really hoping that this kind of spurs more collaborative efforts.
I can't wait to hear more about the story. I mean, you've told me a little bit about sort of how it started and also about all these different people that came in. But I can tell you, I listened to it just now on my drive from Montpelier more in full. You'd sent me a bunch of tracks beforehand. And what I experienced listening to it is just this, like, the stew aspect of it, like the gumbo stew, is on 2 really different levels. One of which is the songs themselves have so many different sounds in them that are both just like different sounds, but also clearly come from an individual, if that makes sense, right? So there are all these different people playing on it, and it's so all over the place, but not in a like crazy way, like not in a messy way.
Yeah, that was like super important to me. And when I decided that I was going to take on this gigantic endeavor, one thing that I kept going back to in my brain was like Guru's Jazzmatazz, and like him being the host and presenting the artist and presenting the music, but not being the star of it. And I love when people call me, since this has been out, and say, I love the Craig track, or I love the Jen track, or I love the Nicole Nelson track, because that's what I wanted, is that they're the star of the track and I'm on the ride with them. There's very few songs on the album that are just me, and I play such a small part in the ones that are, like, in my mind, the best ones. So finding a way to make it all kind of fit together, and I think that goes back to 2 really important people, Luke Gauthier from Equal Eyes, who really did 90% of the sequencing of this album with me, and just is a great music mind, and he's doing amazing things with the label. And then Zach Crawford, Sky Splitter, is genius, and his mastering and his mixing and his ideas and how he shaped things and what he did with what I was bringing to the table and how he took it and turned it into something even more dope. Like those 2, there's many other people involved in all the production, but those 2 really shaped this whole thing and give it the cohesiveness, which was hard to do with 27 tracks from 13 different producers and 40 different artists. So it's pretty amazing that it sounds like you're saying, and that's what I wanted.
Well, it's also it's not even just different producers coming, but each sound, the song of each sound is really unique. Like you've got a blaxploitation sounding thing, you've got a James Bond theme sounding thing. Like there's a very distinct voice in each of the songs. And I think part of, like, as I'm feeling and thinking about it more deeply, there's like such a love for the music that comes through, but also in terms of how you've talked about the project, there's a love for these people involved in the project also. And so it's just like both of that, I feel like bubbling. I feel like the bubbling of the love for music that you have, as well as all these other people who wanted to be on the project, not as any kind of ego thing or whatever, but they just wanted to do it partially because they love you, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm a fan of everybody on this record, first and foremost, and the way that the whole process of this went was when I got the instrumental that was hitting me, I got sent so many instrumentals, but the ones that really I was feeling, I would in my mind immediately think Jen Hartswick for that, Nicole Nelson for that. And I would send it to them and I'd say, you do what you are hearing and feeling, and I'm gonna write around what you do. So all the concepts for the songs are them and then me putting a little salt and pepper on what they're doing. And that's why those songs have that deep of an emotional meaning, because I'm following their lead. And they, I told everybody the whole message behind this album was the universe is sending us signals all the time as humans, and we are so busy that we're not paying attention. And we're getting them all the time, but we're just like got our blinders on and we're just going forward. But when you do get a message that actually changes your path in the right direction and makes you a better human being, that's what this is about. And when I told everybody that, I swear to God, almost every artist said, I'm either going through that right now or I just went through it, so I know exactly where you're coming from. And they would deliver a chorus for me that spoke of that. And you can hear it in this, And actually, like, if you can pull up, I want to play A New Day next. And that's the
New Day?
Yeah, A New Day. That's the Nicole Nelson song. And the reason I want to play that now is for two reasons. One, it's exemplifying what I'm talking about. But secondly, I was thinking about what kind of inspired some of the sounds of these songs. And we just heard a minute ago, Front Back. And that one and A New Day, which you're about to hear, I think both for me are kind of inspired from the Sharon Jones, Dap Kings, Amy Winehouse type vibe that I've grown as I've become older to really appreciate and love. That soulful, dusty, just in the pocket groove. And Nicole delivers on this next song. And what you were saying about being the James Bond theme, when you hear this, you're going to hear it too. Like it could be the next James Bond movie theme. And
I just the theme of like the love of music, like the folks that you described, the Daptones and Amy Winehouse, they were so authentic in what they were doing because they loved what came before them. So it wasn't they didn't spark a completely original kind of genre. They were doing something that had been done in a way that they made it completely their own, but it was so based on the love that they had of that. And so then for you to take that, I mean, this is the gumbo thing, I guess. You take that and you make your own thing. And it's not just, the Daptone sound or whatever. It's all these different sounds that are coming through.
Yeah, I mean, I somehow made this all work, and it's really the producers that I was talking about before and everybody else involved that helped me get to this. But I just really followed the lead of these artists. And this song is just a perfect example of that person, Nicole, who took the chorus and did what she did with it, and then me and Justin Bolin, Wombaticus Rex are the two MCs on this, and we followed her lead, and it's one of my absolute favorite tracks on the project.
Excellent. I love the jazzmatazz concept, because when Guru did the first one, there was either immediate appreciation, but there was some blowback, right? Yeah. Because of an expectation that people had around him and the music that he did with Gangstar. And they weren't recognizing how he was trying to pay tribute to the influences that moved Gangstar, and how Premier came up with all this stuff, and it took a while to be really fully accepted. And I'm going to play that this weekend. I'm good. I haven't played in a while, but and he ended up doing like 3, I think.
Yeah, volume 2 is real good too.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So it's so that was kind of interesting, where people weren't really, it's kind of like we're seeing that now. There's a not a full appreciation of the history. It's like, you guys familiar with DJ Academics at all? Yeah. And you know how he said like older rappers were dusty or something like that? Like, he just offended a lot of people. And LL Cool J's response was just really fantastic, because he talked about how, if you're an artist now, you can sit down with your accountant and you can sit down, with your manager, and you can put together your like 5-year plan, your 10-year plan, your 30-year plan, and you can have all this, financial counseling, all this other stuff. But back then, there were no accountants that believed in hip hop. there were no managers looking to manage, at least high profile managers looking to manage. Like you didn't have that type of plan. Like someone had to build that from scratch. It's a really interesting leeway. That and what after PNB Rock was killed. Yeah, and then was it Run? No, it was Run.
Okay.
Who did the
DMC?
DMC. It was DMC.
One of the most brilliant things I've ever heard.
Yeah. It was like incredible, just like laying out the state of hip hop right now. And like I partially disagreed with it, only from the stance that there are a lot of people doing their thing, but they are ignored by the labels, the major labels. They are ignored by the top 40 stations. They are ignored by major video and a lot of the major like satellite radio. But it's there. But it was just such a perfect thing. And now we have the death of Takeoff this week, which was just senseless in every way. So yeah, I'm sorry. I just went down a dark.
Yeah, I have a whole. I also have a whole. This is a rabbit hole. I could talk about a lot of the things you just said, but I also want to hear the track.
Yes,
too.
we are here. This is the Cultural Bunker.
I could talk about Jazzmatazz for about 45 minutes. But.
Easily. This is the Cultural Bunker. My name is Melo Grant. This is WRUV FM Burlington. Our guest this evening, I feel like Sexfly is returning home. He hasn't been with us for a while. And then, of course, Fattie B. We've been talking about the new release, Gumbo. We're very excited. Shout out to Eagle Eyes. And what was that track we were going to be listening to next?
A New Day.
The New Day. Here
Shout
it comes.
out to Nicole Nelson.
Down, bumping my own tracks. Life is short, death is real, nothing to hold back. Every day's a blank canvas to me, another chance to take advantage of the air that I breathe. I think back on the chances I took for granted, man. I'm lucky I'm alive to still be standing on this planet. If you're a young woman and man, listen up. Feels like forever now, but what we're given isn't much. Days into weeks, into months, into years, and it all accelerates even as it disappears. Be wise and recognize what a blessing you got, cause that miracle is real if you accept it or not. I show respect to the older heads for paving these roads. Much love to the young bloods that make it the wrong. We're continuing traditions, we do it with pride. I'm halfway to my grave, it's been a beautiful ride. Thanks.
Take a look around. I'll be on my way. It's a new day. When you hear the sound, take a look around. I'll be on my way. It's a new day. It's a new.
Life is like a battle, what matters is don't be rattled. Do what satisfies you, don't be herded like a cattle. Tumble off the horse, just get back up in the saddle. Offenses made a post, make decisions, never straddle. Attack it like it's atrophy, tearing your muscles back. Eat your food for fuel and enemies for your snacks. Stepping forward motion, never back, avoiding cracks. Balancing reality and keep that grip intact. Like pressure pushing diamonds, these angles they can refract. Be wise and recognize that fiction is never facts. You're missing if your mission is simply securing stacks. Cause human interaction is really just where it's at. Looking like a duck, then listen for the quacks. Diminish not sufficient if your wish is bigger stacks. Rise and pick your prize like your life is Cracker Jacks. On new days come and get prepping to pay your tax.
When you hear the sound, take a look around. I'll be on my way. It's a new day.
always thought that you have a sound. You know what I'm saying? The music is always speaking to you. If you're listening, it's telling you what to do. It's not what did I do with it, it's what did it tell me to do. One thing that I've learned from this time is it can all go away. Things can change very quickly. From one day to the next, your world can be turned upside down.
Truth be told, all these losses leave a hole in my soul. Make me quiver, feel the shivers like I'm out in the cold. But I've always been told to remember the good. Simple as it sounds, you know I would if I could. But death is much more than just subtraction of breath. It's the loss and depression that'll press on your chest. Don't dismiss the depth of missing something simple as hug. Cause when they're gone, it's like withdrawal from a serious drug. And it's never enough to just pretend that you're tough. Man, admit it for a minute. Losing someone is rough. And the stuff that no one mentions, like the moments alone. Time can heal the wounds, turning miles to stones. And if someone that I lost showed up out of the blue, I give a toe or a finger for a minute or two to simply get the chance to say I love you again. So sick of aching from this taking of my friends.
Call Mr. Martin, tell him to build a coffin. Today is that season, 100 MCs are get murdering. Call Mr. Martin, tell him to build a coffin. Today is that season, 100 MCs are get murdering.
Used to take for granted all the simple day-to-days, till my heart said no, till my self-destructive ways. Overeating, over-drinking, almost overdid it. Doctor told me bluntly, boy, you almost bit it. Refused to let it fly by, go over my head. Cause the job of resurrectors is to wake up the dead. Reckon take a second to just focus instead on the present that's life and the gift that is breath. The message was clear, I inhaled and relaxed. Cause when your journey's over, man, you never get it back. Time is of the essence, it goes so fast. Blink and then you realize that now is the past. The darkness of death will make you focus on sight. Living is the lesson, so you might see the light. And never underestimate the weight of the moment. Or one day you'll just wonder where your soul went.
Call Mr. Martin, tell him to build a coffin. Today is that season, 100 MCs are get murdering. Call Mr. Martin, tell him to build a coffin. Today is that season, 100 MCs are get murdering.
Finding some form of creative expression to express what feels impossible to express the unendurable has been so important.
Call Mr. Martin, tell him to build a coffin. Today is that season, 100 MCs are get murdering. Call Mr. Martin, tell him to build a coffin. Today is that season, 100 MCs are get murdering.
The darkness will try to overtake you, but just turn on the light. Focus on the light. That shift, the rotation. Yeah, that's life, man. That's it. Yes, indeed, amen. Strap in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, what we were talking about before, just about, you know, a lot of passing and loss. I really wanted to play that song because that's, for me, kind of how I got out some of the depression that I had been in for a couple years leading up to my health scare that led to this whole project. But I had experienced quite a bit of loss in a 7-year stretch, and it was something that I kept talking myself out of thinking that I was going through and I was okay from, but it really had a deeper effect on me than I knew. I lost my mom after 5 heart attacks, she finally had one in her sleep that took her. And then shortly after that, I lost a friend from college named Sue who got cancer, beat it, had 2 daughters. The younger daughter got cancer, was taken by it, and then Sue got cancer again and died. So I watched that from afar, loved their family, felt horrible about that situation, seeing that all happen to somebody. It's always the good people, you know. It's like never makes sense, you know.
Always.
There's too many jerk-offs running around that aren't getting sick and dying, but the good ones get taken. And then I lost Andy, and A-Dog was, you know, a very close friend of mine, and that was very tough to watch because he actually won the war but lost the battle, which was tough to see. Then I lost my dog, which, you know, I never experienced a loss like an animal, you know, so that was crazy. And then I lost my dad at the start of the pandemic and couldn't really put my head around that or have a celebration of life for almost a year and a half. And then I got a divorce. So in a 7-year stretch, it was like boom, 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 boom. And I was just kept being like, nah, I'm cool, I'm fine, you know. And it finally all caught up with me and led me to some health stuff and some heart stuff. And last Christmas, I went into the hospital and was having congestive heart failure and was very close to not being here. And the doctors were mad at me and said, you need to wake up and take care of yourself. And I was blaming everybody in the world but myself. And I received a message about the 5th day into my week-long hospital stay from a woman who was a Belize Baja fan and grew up on Belize Baja, went to UVM. And she's like, you met us, me and my husband and my young son at the Jazz Fest show a few years ago. And he's a music lover and a drummer and loves the band, and he has a very serious heart condition, and he's going to be going to Boston Children's at some point to have surgery, and it's very risky and we're unsure of the future and it's very stressful. But when I told him about your post about being in the hospital with the heart thing, he wanted me to tell you he's thinking of you. That moment was like the kick in the butt, the slap in the face that I needed to be like, I'm a grown man who doesn't take care of himself and I can control my health. This is somebody who is a young soul who doesn't have a choice, and he's sending me this message. So I was like, damn, I need to like wake up and, you know, realize what's going on. And so his mom and I, you know, made contact, and I just was like, I told her that this was a message from the universe through Reese to me. And I've never allowed myself to take that lightly. And that spurred this whole thing, you know? So.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you so much for sharing that, because that's going to help a lot of people. That's going to help a lot of people because we've not been taking care of ourselves in the way that we need to. We've not taken control of our lives. And I literally just had a conversation with my niece, she's my daughter. She's like the daughter I never had, and the life she's living right now is she's lost and she's unmotivated. And I was like, is this what you really want? And I'm feeling, you know, I lost someone who I thought was going to be one of those friends who's going to be there for my whole life. And cancer. And, you know, they gave her a couple of months and she fought almost 3 years. And did you gentlemen know Eric Onnenberg with the Wigmans brothers? They own Toast. And Eric died of cancer very suddenly over the summer. And that was just like someone had punched me in the gut, because that was another person I thought would be my friend my whole life and always be. And I think when you're in your 50s, that's not old. That's really not old to me. And
yeah, I mean, you saying that, like, after this happened and I got this message and I had just decided in that moment, like, you know, I'm 50 years old. If I'm lucky, I'm going to live to be 85, right? So 35 more years. And I started to think 35 years ago was the beginning of Belize Baja, and that went by in the blink of an eye for me. So I'm like, if I only have that blink of an eye left, I'm going to live the life the way I want to live it and to the fullest, and I'm going to take advantage of my time, and I'm going to do some things that I should have done before, and I'm going to deal with. And, you know, I had some family things top of the list, and then second or third was make the best music I've ever made in my life and do this project. And the minute I got out of the hospital and started to feel better, I reached out to people and said, here's what I want to do. And everyone was like, I'm in. Let's do it.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
You are in tune with WRUV FM Burlington, 90.1 on your dial. And, of course, you can stream us at WRUV.org. We have our special guest this evening, Fattie B, talking about the new release, Gumbo. And how many other artists are on this with you, you were saying?
It's over 40 artists between DJs, producers, MCs, musicians, vocalists, and 26 tracks total. And we did the whole thing in 6.5 months, which is insane.
That's insane. Sexfly is here as well.
Yeah, hi everybody. I was just thinking about like part of what we're talking about in terms of the loss and the need for interconnectedness, right? Like, so you guys were both talking about these close people who you lost to. It's so easy for us to kind of take folks that it's just not going to stop, right? It's not going to end, right? And then there's that tendency to sort of separate from it, and so going deep, like you're going real deep with all this is like through your grief and through the loss is actually something's growing from it that was all about interconnectedness with all of these people and all of that.
Yeah, it's funny because there's a lot of heavy subject matter on this record. There's 4 or 5 songs that are deep. The last track that Dwight Richard delivers is this heartfelt call to someone that meant a lot to him, that was going through something real heavy and that he has been sitting on for 20 years and finally got out. And it's amazing. And I have a tribute to A-Dog that we're going to play in a little bit, but I just really feel like I needed this musical expression to not only get it out and do it like you said, Melo, that share it with others and have people really get something out of this. But for me, it was like a release that I'm like, it's okay for me to feel this and talk about it and put it out in the world. And I'm so proud that the response has been so, people are feeling it, people are connecting with the emotion behind it, and they like it. They're giving me like, we appreciate you for opening up your chest and like doing it in a way that we can listen to and not feel like we're gonna go sit in a corner and cry. But like, I had a couple bad dreams like leading up to this of like when it gets put out and is being reviewed that they're gonna be like, yo, this sad old dude needs a hug, man. Somebody call this buddy.
No.
And I said that to a couple people, and they're like, look, if people don't get it, that's their problem. They're like, you're putting the truth out there, and like you're doing it in a beautiful way, so don't worry about that. I'm like, well, that's just, as an artist, when you're gonna put something out to be critiqued, you think about those things. So, but I'm very proud of this, and the other track here I want to play next is we were talking a little bit here behind the scenes about when we all grew up, how cool it was, like when a record was released and you knew the release date, you went down to Pure Pop and you waited in line and you like used your lawn mowing money to go in and buy this record, and when you got it, you sat at home and you looked at it and you opened it up and you read the liner notes and you put the needle down and you let the thing play from start to finish, and you play it 3, 4, 5 times because you had spent your $14 on this and it meant something, and before you decided if you hated it or not, you were going to give it proper listens. And the value of like having a physical thing to like appreciate is lost now. And this next song is like these dudes sitting in a barbershop talking about how kids today don't have that, like, so.
Yeah, for sure. And it's funny because you had played me some of the tracks and I was so waiting for Halloween to come for this thing to drop. It was like this anticipation to hear this thing, and I realized that I hadn't felt that way since I was waiting for the day that Fear of a Black Planet was going to come out at Pure Pop. And the day it came out, I was living up at Marsh Austin Tupper, and I walked from my dorm on March 4th, I think I was on, down to Pure Pop, got the CD, walked back to my room, put it in, and played the thing from beginning to end. First time I ever heard it, and the liner notes in the Public Enemy albums was like the first hip-hop group with liner notes, and they were thick, and they're like talking about all this current event stuff, like Virginia Beach, this thing had just happened, and it was like, it was huge. Like, and that anticipation and the depth of that record and the liner notes and the context was just huge. So it's great that you're saying this, and what we're going to play next I love also. But that this album, I haven't anticipated an album like your album Gumbo, because you blessed me with some of the early tracks of it, and it was like, yeah, I just, that feeling is so, I haven't had that feeling in a long time, which is awesome.
Yeah. Well, thank you for saying that, and big props to Pro from the Aztecs for this instrumental, who I know, if he's listening or hears this later, I know you wanted me to rhyme on it. I love you. I did want to, but when this thing fell in place, it's so perfect, and I love this track, and it means so much to us on this project. So this goes out to Pro, and this is called The Value of Music.
And this is off the release Gumbo from Fattie B and over 40 artists, epic collaboration. And we'll be checking this out. And then, I think I want to follow it up with that track that has Rayvon C on it. Yeah. Give a little shout out to some young talent.
And talk about interconnections and
interconnections.
generations, and shouting out DJ Lewis.
Yeah. And there is some stuff where, how we were saying earlier, the connections weren't there, but it's like the environment's a little different. There was so much support in this town during the summer. So we'll
play that track, and then you have to tell that story that you told me about how you and Lewis met.
Let's just look at what we're talking about. Right? We're talking about music, right?
Mm-hmm. Are we losing that connection with music? Explain that. I mean, in this microwave era, are we losing that connection with music? What music meant to people years ago. Right. The people who stood online to get an album, the people who waited on those dates through sort of artwork, who heard the singles and kind of like followed the trail to eventually have that product in their hand. Yes. To answer your question, I think we have lost something in the fact that if you're a collector of something and now the thing you're collecting you can't really hold in your hand, I think that automatically takes away from it.
Now, music is the artist, it's his lifestyle, it's his chain, it's his bitches, it's his crew. This is all this shit that don't matter. Did you know Marvin Gaye when you heard I Want You? No. You just knew Marvin Gaye made I Want You. All you knew was, this is like the most amazing album we're hearing at this time. Now, I have to believe that you had that many chicks. I have to believe you got all those cars. I gotta believe that your jewelry's real. I gotta believe that you're the guy that you say. Instead of just going, his records are amazing.
I like the music.
What I'm saying is, time is everything. If you don't have time, you don't care. So you're not gonna care what the guy is saying. You're not gonna care if it's real. Now he has to show you to make you care. He has to do things that Marvin never did, Hov never did, Big never did.
Right.
Because it wasn't digital. It was an album, it was a cassette, it was a CD. If you move an album around, if you move a needle in an album around, you're gonna scratch the album. If you pull a cassette, if you fast forward and rewind a cassette enough, you're gonna pop a tape. If you keep fast forwarding and back forwarding on CD, it's gonna get scratched. So, now you physically have to listen. So caring is what you cared about. You cared about the music. You didn't necessarily care about the artist. You cared about the music, and then you cared about the artist. So music is the music. Music. Music.
stimulator, microphone manipulator, first grader, reader, illustrator on the fader. Cool gladiator, funk formulator, soul stimulator, microphone manipulator, first grader, reader, illustrator on the fader.
Concrete crumbles every walk I take. Pavement breaks when I stomp and shake. Two-step to landslides, crunk commence tight. Tsunami when I dug it, Wi-Fi dirty wine. I merely rock and the ocean splits. Hurricane scream when I talk my ish. Sand dunes freeze when I speak too cold. I turn the yaki to a beach when I tweak my tone. I make a chick twist and shout with my style. Original, rude boy, too wild for the crowd to stick around and listen what you bitching about. You diss my sound and I'll rip you down. I'll end your whole world in one sentence. Armageddon starts in my presence. My only demand is this: pay respects to them kids, bitch.
Funk formulator, soul stimulator, microphone manipulator, first grader, reader, illustrator on the fader. Cool gladiator, funk formulator, soul stimulator, microphone manipulator, first grader, reader, illustrator on the fader. I'll be a friend of your dad, real deal MC. And if you wonder what I go by, it's Bumbalati. Original, subliminal, minimal but critical, burnt analytical, pooping on the pitiful. Tired of all the cynicals who don't believe in pinnacles. The stereos are typical, it's getting plain ridiculous. Yo, bust, never focus on the fuss. Feel me when I'm flowing straight, crowing like I'm Russ. Every day I'm forcing you to trust, I'll deliver. Think about your shower so hard, you got the shivers like a river. I can flow on into a tributary, stationary, do whatever's necessary. Moving like it's missionary, peaceful like a monastery. Make you wanna move, man, crushing it is customary. Rhyme evolutionary, kill it like a cemetery. Planetary, cautionary, music is my sanctuary. Cruising like Terry, kill it like I'm Barry. Hit you where it counts, like refrigerator Perry. Since January, new man like Gary. Scratching like Lee and scary, with vocabulary, keep it arbitrary. Style like I'm Harry. Peter told Paul it's bloody when I sip a Mary. Legendary, visionary, change it like I'm Tackleberry. Revon proved it before, it's hereditary. Microphone manipulator, first grader, reader, illustrator on the fader. Cool gladiator, funk formulator, soul stimulator, microphone manipulator, first grader, reader, illustrator on the fader. See you later.
Right, we got instrumental from Sly, Fifth Avenue, from Invisible Man, kind of orchestral interpretations of Dr. Dre.
I want to shout out my man DJ Center, who works with him, who blessed me once back in the old WRUV studio to come up and cut up some stuff. So
Nice.
Shouting out him.
Nice. Want to remind you, this is the Cultural Bunker here at WRUV FM Burlington. My name is Melo Grant. We are the radio voice of the University of Vermont. Special guest Fattie B here today, talking about his new release, Gumbo. Motivations behind it, specific information about the tracks, inspiring us. Sex Fly is here as well. So we just heard 2 tracks, Groove Gladiators.
Revon.
And then the value of music.
Yeah, just I wanted to definitely play that. It's an important track on this album. And, just really wanted to get back with this record to making a full album, making a concept and a start and a finish and a journey. And instead of just putting out a track or two,
Yeah, and I also love what they say about, like, when you heard Marvin Gaye, you didn't think about Marvin Gaye. It was the music. Like, you didn't even know who was singing it. And the way that you've brought all these people onto this, it's not about, like, a celebrity fest. It's like, I love hearing about the people you brought on, but the part of me that's interested in the music isn't thinking about the people, if that makes sense. Like, the music is just there, and it's, like, speaking for itself.
One of my favorite things when I was like, a teenager and growing up in Bristol, all there was on the radio was like classic rock. But there's some, Steely Dan had some like grooves. You're like, man, what is this? And some classic rock that you're like, now it gets sampled here and there. But like, when I finally saw what those dudes looked like that made the music from that era, I'm like, it definitely didn't matter how beautiful you were. It was about the music. It didn't matter what you were wearing. It didn't matter what designer you were following. It didn't matter. Like, it was all about the music. And not that I'm an ugly dude, but it shouldn't be about who I am or what I've done in the past. It should be about this project. I'm presenting it with these people who have blessed me with their talents to put this out. And I just love the final result of being like, here's this emotional roller coaster ride of funkiness. Join us, soak it in. And people are sending me messages about what different songs mean to them and why. And that to me are the messages I love to get, because when a certain song hits somebody of something they've gone through or are going through, and it's helping them or it's reminding them of like the things are going to be okay even in the stressful times, that's so cool for me, man. Like, the older I get, the more I want to deliver something that matters and that like people are feeling, instead of just being the party.
And also just the disposability of it, right? Like, this album is not disposable. And it's rare that I've heard, and I don't listen to all that much new music, so I have to, like, it kind of comes through me for my 15-year-old son. But it just all sounds, I don't know, it sounds like, okay, there's a disposability to the music that I'm hearing. And I know that's not true. I know that's just what I'm hearing, but on the surface. But this album is not disposable. And I just have to say, I said this to you while we were waiting for Melo to get here, like, playing that on the album, this is a digital album, you gotta make the vinyl LP set. It's gotta be on vinyl, it's gotta be big box, it's gotta have tons of liner notes. And so all we need, I'm just gonna pitch this out there, we just need someone who can finance that, that's all, if you're out there.
Yeah, like GoFundMe without a GoFundMe. Just go pay me. Go pay me to make a 4 vinyl record.
Could do a couple of benefits.
Yeah, we should
do
that.
it. But they should be like Saturday afternoons.
Yeah, before nap time.
No, because I have been thinking about this. Like, I've been thinking about like people who love the music, but you've got your families, you've got your jobs, we have more responsibilities. But like a Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, I'm with that. One of the things,
and I think people would support that.
Oh, they would definitely support it.
And you could bring the kids.
We could do brunch while we do it. Like, yeah, people would be into it. One of the things I definitely want to try to mention before I forget is that Saturday evening, November 26th, at the Double E, in the T-Rex Theater, is going to be the release party for this event, and many of the artists involved are going to be performing, and it's going to be a really cool vibe. I'm going to do it kind of in a storyteller's type, unplugged type setting, where I have like a Bobby Brown style head mic, and I'm going to be sitting at a fake bar setup, and I'm going to be drinking fake shots, and the bartender will be DJ Kenga.
Nice.
And I will be talking about the project, and then I'll talk about, say, Jennifer Hartswick's song with me, and I'll walk to the middle of the stage, and she'll come out from the other side, and her and I will perform our song together, and then I will go back to the bar, and she will perform 2 songs of her own. And then I will begin talking about the Nicole Nelson song, and she will come out, we will perform our song, and then she will do a couple songs. So the whole night will be just like eclectic, wonderful sampling of all these amazing Vermont artists, and especially being a holiday weekend and in that setting with like really cool backdrops behind us and lighting. I think it's just going to be a really, really cool night, and I'm super psyched to share this with people live and just let these artists have their moment to do a couple tunes that mean something to them for the crowd as well. And it's just going to be really, really cool.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I can't wait. I can't wait for that. I wanted to just talk a little bit about the track you did with Revon on there, and just this kind of the generational thing. Like, one of the things, like, I posted that we were doing this on the Facebook has like Burlington in the 1990s page, and it was like, I mean, I love being here with both of you because it's like the generational thing. Like, Melo Grant trained me to be a DJ at WREV in 1990. And so just like, I love you guys. This has been going on for a long time.
I know, for a long
you know?
time.
And so DJ Lewis was also a WREV DJ when he was in high school, I think, Burlington High School. Yeah. Back in like early 90s, you know? And so...
And E-Train was a DJ when he was in high school.
Yeah.
He went to Essex, I think.
Yeah. And that's how I met EK, when he was DJ.
Okay.
Well, when the story behind the Lewis thing was, I was driving this crappy car. It was like 90, I don't know, 1 or 2 maybe, coming toward Burlington from Bristol. And when I got in range to get RUV, somebody, whoever was DJing, was playing this special ed remix that I had never heard. It was some European thing or something. It was not a regular 12-inch. And I went to a payphone and called the station, and he answered and told me what it was. And I said, man, I'm just really digging your show. And he said, oh, you know, you should come by sometime. And I'm like, where is it? And he told me, and I went and talked to him. And then the next time I saw him he was DJing a basement house party, and we talked there. And him and I became lifelong friends, and I saw him get married and have a family and have known Revon since he was very, very young, and have watched Revon's career just accelerate, and he's just gotten better and better and better and better. And I know how proud Lewis is of him, and I know how amazing Revon is and is going to be going forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And when I had that beat,
it's a really great performer.
I had never heard him kind of do that style like that, but I was like, I could imagine him killing it. So I sent it to him, and he was just like, oh, hell yeah. So just a really cool, as another with this whole project and these songs, there's just a really cool full circle story of, you know, and I say in the rhyme, friend of your dad's, and, you know, real MC, and then at the end I say, Revon proved it before, it's hereditary. So I like wrapped up my whole verse, bringing it full circle for him and his dad as well. So just a really cool part of that.
802-656-4399. It's one of those numbers that I'll never forget.
If anybody wants to call in, I'll give me your email. I'll send you a free digital download of the album.
Ooh,
the phones are gonna light up.
We'll see. I haven't answered the new one yet. But I just wanted to say something we were talking about earlier, the lack of connectiveness. I mean, there was Border, which had really started the trend of bringing in different type of artists, more diverse, shall we say. Mm-hmm. And then Toast, making a conscious effort to really
people post the calendars from time to time, like these old Toast calendars. It's insane.
It's insane.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
It's like Pavement, you know, the Executioners, like
Hieroglyphics crew, Angelique. Yeah. I mean, it's amazing. And then
the Pants.
Mm-hmm. And then even like early higher ground shows. Everyone right now, I think live music is slowly coming back. But it's really hard. There's not the support there needs to be for younger artists. And I think we could do so. I actually have to say, I thought the Jazz Festival this year was fantastic.
Yeah, they did a great job.
I thought they did a really great job. I thought the curation was like spot on because it's what it needed to be.
Yeah.
In terms of featuring more young artists who had more of a diversified style. Because we're right in the middle of Boston and Montreal.
Yeah.
And we should be catching more of that. And we're not making an effort to do so. And
I was just having a conversation about a similar mindset of this, that, you know, as the 90s turned into the 2000s, I watched the bar owners here realize, hey, I can pay a DJ $300, $250, $300 instead of a band and an opening band and a sound guy. And it just started to, you know, before you could walk down Church Street and see 10 bands on any given night. Then all of a sudden it was maybe 1 or 2 bands, and all the DJs were taking over everything. And I was in a weird juxtaposition with that because I was a live musician at one point. Now I'm a DJ. I'm benefiting from getting all these gigs, but I'm also feeling bad for my friends who can't get live music gigs. And I saw that separation. I saw it start to become more and more just like a divide. And then the pandemic happens and it makes it even worse.
It makes it even worse.
And anybody who's playing live blues, live jazz are just like, are you kidding me? Like, I can't get a gig for $50 and have 5 people come now, you know? And I feel bad for them because that's the type of music that this city needs to have on a regular basis.
Right.
A diversified sound all over the place.
And there's a lot of amazing hip hop, not just in Burlington, but in Vermont. Vermont has a really amazing scene right now with some really incredibly talented people.
Yeah.
And we don't quite know what to do with it. You know, I've tried to talk to the mayor. I was just like, you know, really you can take advantage of the diversity.
Yeah.
And do, like, there's no reason we couldn't do an independent hip hop festival.
Oh, for sure.
I need several interns.
Yeah.
So if you believe in that concept and you want to intern, let me know.
You know, I want to talk a little bit about the concept of making music nowadays as opposed to when I came up and was doing it, and how different it is and how this record was made. So maybe if we play another song when we come back, I can talk about that, because this song will kind of lead into that discussion, because it has a very important part in what I'm about to say about how songs are made and the way they were made for this. It's very different from when I grew up, as far as like getting a studio, going to the studio, sitting in the same room with the person, vibing, making the music. Nowadays it's like, hey man, I'm gonna email you an instrumental. Okay, I'll email you back my verse. Okay, I'm gonna email you the horn part. It's like, many of the people on this record who made a song together have never even met in person, which is a crazy thing, you know. So there's a track, I don't know, I think I gave it to you, called Rock Steady. And I think you guys both know him, Nat Woodard, old friend of mine, been in the scene forever, you know, has a family and has, you know, been doing his own thing for many years. And him and I are longtime friends, and we hadn't talked in many years. And right when this project was finishing, he sends me an email one night out of nowhere and says, hey man, I'm making music again. I'm back from the dead. Like, I thought of you. I was sending you some instrumentals. I'm like, oh, you saw my social media post about Gumbo? He's like, yeah, no, I'm not on social media. I have no idea what you're talking about. And I was like, so you just, after like 8 years of not talking to me, in this moment, decided to send me some beats? And he's like, yeah. And the day before, as this whole thing is gone, I said to my friend, we were listening to all the tracks, I'm like, man, the one thing I wish this record had was like a cool reggae vibe tune. And in the instrumentals Nat sent me was this Rock Steady instrumental. And I'm like, man, I gotta use this. And I had no intention of making more tracks for this record. And then I immediately thought of Miriam Bernardo, who I've been a fan of forever, to do the hook. And when I sent it to her, what she delivered was this yearning calling out to a lover that she's basically saying, I'm trying to send you my signal that we're coming to an end and you're not hearing it. Will you please recognize this and me? And I had just gone through a divorce, so I was like, I got some lyrics for that. So I just came pouring out of me, and the production is dope. Rob Morris plays live bass on it, and if we can play it, it's one of my favorite tracks.
And I also want to shout out Nat Woodard, because we had sleepovers in the 70s in Plainfield, so that's how we were rolling back then.
I have to shout out Nat because I get to go to shows in Montreal with him sometimes, and it's really awesome. Thank you.
He's one of the good people, for sure. Love you, Nat.
One of the good people. All right, Rock Steady is what we're going into. And then can we listen to the one with Craig?
For sure.
I want to hear Craig Mitchell.
Yeah.
Yes?
For sure.
Okay.
Can you pick it up loud and
never change, maybe hanging by the thread that you pulled until the freight. Forever in the day, said you'd never go away. Promises were made, all work and never paid. Maybe raise my fees, cause nothing's ever free. Mystery to me, why I'm blind and never see how we started at an A, babe, but now we at a Z. Duped and deceived, and yet I still believe. Lies got denied, so why I never leave? Signals not received, got me searching for reprieve. Open up my eyes just to separate degrees, cause a message can't be heard if you never aim to please. Listen to my song, cause these lyrics hold the keys. Guarantees gone, cut it off like amputees. Tough times took a toll, so sick of saying please. Rough wakes got me woke, seeking calmer seas. Time to let it be so I can groove, 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 I can groove.
Welcome to Fattie B Radio. Top your dial. Bring it back, baby. Good. Are you ready? Feel that.
Are we gonna get naughty? Are we gonna get down? Are we gonna let loose, get in the groove, show a groove, and ooh, naughty, get down. Are we gonna let loose, get in the groove, show a groove, and ooh,
Give me that funk like they used to play when they shined on time like Morris Day. Stone cold-blooded and freaky like Rick. The dogs were atomic, Bootsy and Brick. In the bag, the fat stack to keep it on track. Bounce to the ounce, we need some more Zap. Gap band, dash band, cameo. No pumping on the dance floor, Maceo. Sound was bigger, you know, so go figure. Cowards have powers with fingers on triggers. Two-step reppin' down to the bone. Fly like Sly had the family stone. See, Cool and his gang would bring the get down. Drive that funky soul like James Brown. No doubt the king held the crown, true sound. Beat battlegrounds were found to break down.
Are we gonna get naughty? Are we gonna get down? Are we gonna let loose, get in the groove, show a groove, and ooh, naughty, get naughty, get down. Are we gonna let loose, get in the groove, show a groove, and ooh,
La-di-da-di, I like to party party, but also like to chill, sip bourbon, listen to Sade. Night in, lights dim, you find me probably with my girl, she got an immaculate type of body. But when I party, I got the guard like Marty. Any day of the week, yeah, sorry, not sorry. I crew the animals, a drinking safari. Appetizer calamari, hold the soy, bring the tomorrow. It's important that you start with a base to face the consequence after all the shots you chase. Starting the shot, then it's off to the race. A couple laps, don't collapse, feel the space and embrace. A weeble wobble, but he don't fall down. I'm a town and out of drinking, yeah, it starts with a noun. I got my people pick the place and the thing holding me down. And the thing's a bottle of liquor and it's usually brown.
That doo-doo brown.
Are we gonna get naughty? Are we gonna get down? Are we gonna let loose? Get in the groove, show and prove, and ooh, ooh, naughty. Get down. Are we gonna let loose? Get in the groove, show and prove, and ooh, ooh, ooh. Get on up and get on down. Get on up and get on down. Get on up and get on down. Down. Come on, get down. And we're gonna let loose, get in the groove, show and prove, and ooh, ooh, naughty. Get down. And we're gonna let loose, get in the groove, show and prove, and ooh, ooh, ooh.
Funky. Very, very funky. You're right. It could be like it's like I was just saying, it could be like a 15-minute remix.
Yeah, we could have Craig spinning that on two turntables and just going on and on, while he ad-libs.
Yes, Craig Mitchell. Shout out to Craig Mitchell.
Mitchell.
Yes, another track from Gumbo, and then Rocksteady, also from Gumbo. Special guest this evening, Fattie B, new release Gumbo, and I really hope you've all been enjoying it because it's pretty fantabulous.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that a lot.
Sex-wise here now. He's feeling the Camp Low beat right now.
Yeah, this is dope.
This is dope. I know, it's one of those songs that has a, what's the term, politically incorrect title?
Oh, yeah.
But it's such a classic hip-hop phrase, like something's cold retarded.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Right? Remember that? You know, stupid fresh, cold retarded, all that.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't say that anymore.
You can't say it anymore.
It's not cold or the other word.
Yes.
So I think one of the tracks I think I gave you is called "Crazy If You Think We Ain't."
Let me see.
And I hope you have it because the story behind this one is absolutely crazy. Like, I obviously, people who know me know I was in Balisbaha in the 90s and we did a couple albums. And in 1996, we were in New York City recording at, where were we? I don't know if I say in here. It just says a New York City studio. I can't remember. Oh, Firehouse Studios. And we were recording all afternoon. And I got to the point of the evening where I was done my part, and my friends in New York were like, let's go out for the night. So I was like, are you guys cool with me taking off? They're like, yeah. So the 4 core musicians were staying there, and they were just messing around, playing some grooves. And our buddy Choco was engineering. And the Firehouse was like the type of studio where there's like 6 studios in a semicircle. So the main room, whenever a door would open, if you're hanging out in the main room, you would hear what's going on in the studio. And they started playing this like jazzy hip-hop groove, and they're just messing around, and this kid, the door opens, and this kid, 19-year-old kid outside was like, hey man, I really dig this, I'm a trumpet player, can I come jam with you guys? They're like, yeah, we're not really recording, we're just messing around, come on in. But Choco like mics him up. Choco starts recording, they didn't even know it, they were just playing. This kid, his name Kenyatta Beasley, ends up being, he was Wynton Marsalis' understudy. He's now a multi-time Grammy winner, college professor, very accomplished. We had no idea at the time. I didn't even know this track was made for almost a decade. I was going through some DAT tapes of some of the studio stuff and found it and was like, what is this? And they're like, oh, I forgot about Jeremy's like, I forgot about that. Like we weren't even gonna put that out. That was just us screwing around. I'm like, this is so dope. I'm like, I would have rhymed on that. Oh my God, that was exactly what I wanted you guys to play. So when I listen to the track, it's dope because it's like, you can tell it's live. There's a couple of off notes and a couple of weird things, but I love that about it. But like, there was breaks in the song where like Choco was directing like Sean to drop out or Jeremy to come in with a sound or Bob to do this. And I'm like, man, do you guys care if I make this a track on this album? And I finally get to rhyme on it. There's spaces for me to do that. And they're like, no, we don't care. Just, reach out to Kenyatta. And so I hit him up and he's like, yeah, go for it. And so me and Conflict used to do this call and response thing with the crowd on Thursday nights where we'd say something and the crowd would answer, crazy if you think we ain't. So when Belizbaha was in town to do our reunion show, I had them all come into the studio and they were the crowd responding to my call and response. And then I drop a verse on it. And I love that we have this. And I love that Belizbaha's on this record. And I love how it came out. It sounds like I was always on it. Because those guys were like, man, how'd you make it sound like you were part of it from the beginning? I'm like, I wanted to mix it so it sounded that way. And so I love that it's on here. And if you do have it, I'd love to play it.
Yeah.
And Jeremy does the intro and talks about that night in the studio and how this came about. So pretty cool.
Jeremy, all right.
Shout out Jeremy Scalar and Belizbaha.
What's good? This is Jeremy Scalar. I am the keyboard player and one of the founding members of the band Belizbaha. Forever, the most important journey of my musical life. So imagine, if you will, a 3 o'clock in the morning recording studio in New York City in the 90s. It was dark, a little bit grimy. We were done for the night, sort of with our normal recording schedule. But we started jamming on this one groove. And Choco, who was in the booth, stood up instantly from behind the board and started conducting us like a mad conductor, like an arranger from behind the glass, pointing at me to play, pointing at Mark to come in, pointing at Sean when to drop, So he was conducting us and the groove was really thick. And then Kenyatta Beasley, who was playing with us, he must have only been 19 at the time, I guess. Anyway, so he's soloing and we're deep in the thick of the groove, but we're also paying attention to Choco, who's like a madman behind the glass, conducting us and arranging on the fly and recording everything. And it was a really magical take. It's one of my favorite grooves that we ever did. And it's dope that Fattie B is putting it on this new project and decided to rhyme over it. One of my faves, one of my good memories of being in the studio, as only you can in New York. You go into the studio when, at 8 p.m. and you come out at sunrise. And that was that night. And that's what made this track. So hope you enjoy what Fattie B does to it now.
Belizbaha, that is the name of the band. I believe they're from Burlington, Vermont. They've got a CD named for a lost friend, Charlie's Dream. Please welcome Belizbaha.
Crazy if you think we ain't. Crazy if you think we ain't.
Like I've been napping. Done with Silly Tour, said I'm done with macking. It's time to get it cracking now, I'm done with slacking. Life is just a bitch that makes the blind man see how to open up your eyes, cause we own the keys. Hit your gas or you end up a casualty. Shout B to the E, that's my family. Don't disagree, grind stones with me. I'm homegrown, getting blown like I'm on the weed. Don't know no greed, don't feel no need. Instead proceed to to make mics bleed, y'all.
Crazy if you think we ain't. Crazy if you think we ain't. Crazy if you think we ain't. Crazy if you think we ain't.
The band is bringing breaks while we splitting the stakes.
Crazy if you think we ain't.
Rhyme reigns maintained, don't be thinking we can't.
Crazy if you think we ain't.
Cleaning off the glass and defending the paint.
Crazy if you think we ain't.
Baking up these cakes and we gotta say thanks.
Crazy if you think we ain't. 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 Crazy if you think we ain't.
So your description was very apropos.
Amazing, amazing. I love that track's on this record.
It's the Belizbaha Lost Tapes.
Literally. Oh my goodness. That was a jam. You can cut it short. I'm like, no, that's a jam. That literally. We were feeling that. Ladies and gentlemen, this is WREV FM Burlington. We're at 90.1 your dial. You can stream us at WREV.org. My name is Melo Grant. This is the Cultural Bunker, and Sex Fly is here with our special guest, Fattie B. And we've been talking about his new release, Gumbo, on the Equal Eyes record label. Shout out to Equal Eyes. And we mentioned buying albums of pure pop. We also want to give a shout out to Burlington Records and Autumn Records as well in Winooski, because you can still go there and you can touch stuff and you can buy things with liner notes, and it's like amazing.
Yeah. I just before we end my little segment, I want to really just give shouts to some people who were very instrumental in making this project happen. So first and foremost, Luke Gauthier, the head of Equalize Records. Luke and I have formed an amazing friendship, and I just am very appreciative of his talents and all of his time and energy, and I just can't thank him enough. And Zach Crawford, Sky Splitter, who mastered and mixed 97% of this. Zach, you're a genius. I'm blessed to work with you. You're a professional through and through. You're what you do to songs to make them better and how you shape them. Everybody who works with you is lucky. So anybody out there, if you young cats, if you're making records, work with Zach, Sky Splitter Inc. You will not regret it. He will make you sound better. Go to him. My man Matt Scott, who a friend of mine told me that when I started this, I need to meet him and work with him, has been instrumental in this. He's sang on songs, he's mixed songs, he's played instruments on songs. Matt, I love you, bro, and I can't thank you enough for being a part of this. Uriah Hackney, who I did a bunch of the audio recording with, and who was just a musical genius and the most humble dude in the universe.
Busy cat.
Busy. Rock star one day, dad the next day, skateboard the next day. Like, my man, that whole family was super talented. I love all of them. I love his dad, his uncle, his brothers.
Yes.
So, listen, I just really appreciate you, Uriah, for everything you did for this. My man Brian from Aztecs Pro knows music. Bunch of instrumentals from him on this, and just his ear and his appreciation for music and our friendship that we've shared for many, many years. I appreciate you so much, Brian. Bob Wagner for what he did with the track with Reese's drums. Amazing. And Bob, I'm just super, super honored to work with you, and I'm always impressed with everything you do around this amazing music scene. That your collaborative efforts are, Superman-like. So keep doing what you do and bring people together. Rico James, I love the mix you did, and I want to work with you more. So thank you so much. And Dwight Richer, who delivered the album ending track. That's just one of the more emotional things I've ever been a part of being on, and I can't thank you enough. And just quickly want to shout out all the artists involved with this, and it's going to be a long list, but I'm going to run through it quickly. Lyric from Aztecs, Mr. Burns, Vader the Villain, T-Slove, Dwight Sayon, The Truth, Wombaticus Rex, Wish, Revon, my nephew Lone Nexus, my buddy Double G, G-Wiz, Jennifer Hartswick, Craig Mitchell, Bob Wagner, Matt Scott, Teese, again, Shauna Anderson from Belizbaha, Nicole Nelson, Toyosi, Babaloa, Dwight Richer, producers for beats for Mr. Burns, myself, Uriah, Sky Splitter, Double G, Pronos Music, and Ilu, and Dave Grippo on some sax, Joey Somerville on some trumpet, Steve Haddock on some congas, Rob Morris on some live bass, Matt Murray on guitar, Daniel Romaine on violin, and Reese Paye on some drums. Shout out to Reese and Jada and the whole family. And my man DJ E-Train on the cuts, DJ Kenga, and DJ Anubis. Huge list, huge project. Super proud to present it. Thank you for having me.
Gumbo, ladies and gentlemen.